What happens when someone who is terrified to be on camera ends up building a career helping other people show up on video? Hello and welcome to The Zach Brown Show, the show that introduces you to old friends one story at a time. I'm your host, Zach Brown. On this episode, I'm joined by Katie Fawkes, Director of Marketing at Ecamm. We talk about overcoming fear, why authenticity matters more than polish, the variety of shows Katie co-hosts, and what happens when you get to create alongside your childhood best friend. All that and more, coming up. Well, Katie, welcome to the Zach Brown Show.
I'm so excited to be here. It's going to be so much fun.
I love doing shows with people that I'm comfortable with and I know are a good hang, because if there is 5 minutes of tech issues prior to, I know it's a safe space and you're like, it's cool, dude. We're in this together. Yeah.
Been there many a time.
So I just love this. We've got our coffee. We've got our friends gathered by the proverbial fire. And I just want to introduce them to you because I think you're such a cool and lovely person.
Oh, thank you.
Well, of course. So I just feel like to get to know somebody really well, it's really good to know like where their origin story began. So like, where did you grow up? What was your childhood like?
So I grew up kind of all over the place. I'm Canadian by birth. I was born in a small town called Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, where my mom was born, actually. And then I moved all over the place. But the mass majority of my childhood was just outside Montreal in Quebec. So kind of Montreal suburbs, totally stereotypical, super lovely childhood of a typical 80s, 90s kid. So a lot of biking, watching movies, running back and forth to friends' houses, lots of time in the basement, lots of time being forced outside with the doors locked, just expected to get stuff done, come back when the lights turn on. A great time. I wish that I was sometimes still in on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. And now you don't still live in Canada, do you?
I don't. I am just about an hour north of Boston in Massachusetts. So I'm close enough. I can get back to Montreal in about 4.5, 5 hours, depending on how fast I'm driving.
Very cool. I love that answer. So I always think it's interesting when you meet people and you're seeing what they're doing now, but to ask them the question, like, what did you, like young Katie want to do when she was growing up? What did she want to become?
Oh my gosh. Again, kind of a million and one things. I'm sort of one of those like everything and nothing kind of people. If I think back to as far back as I can remember, probably an actor that was like high up on my list, like a TV movie actor, and then a stage actor, and then a writer. I really, really wanted to be a novelist. And I held on to that for a really long time, probably right up until like mid-college university timeline, where I was like, oh, this feels like there are less and less opportunities in this space and less opportunities to make money in this space. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'd love to be in publishing then. If not like writing, then I would love to be copy editing or working in the world of books in some way or another.
I love that. It's just you're like me, like a voracious reader and loves a good story. Again, our shared love of like movies and books and all that.
Oh yeah.
So I think like when you're geared towards that, you can't help but want to be a part of it and create and like make more. So I love that, where you're like, I want to do this, but I also kind of want to do this. Like the interest is just like all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like solidly good at a lot of things, which means that I'm not actually incredible at any one thing, which is a weird feeling, but kind of fun. Like it lets me dabble in lots and it lets me be highly relatable to a lot of people as well. Cause I've just done a lot of things and lived in a lot of different places. So it has become a superpower. But over the years, I'm always like, oh man, I wish I was like amazing at one thing I could really own. But I'm not. I'm okay with it these days. I feel pretty good about who I am.
I totally get that. I tell people, like, because I play guitar and they'd be like, you play, guitar? I'm like, yeah. They're like, are you any good? I said, I'm exceedingly average. I said, I want to learn the things, but I don't think I'm ADHD or ADD. Like I'm probably, but I'm just like, I need to go do other things and I get bored and I want to move on. So I think it's make us a well-rounded human being. Whether we are just
we're fun at parties. We can talk to lots of people. Yeah.
Yes. We're like, if we were to sit with the Breakfast Club, you're like, I could hang out with any of them.
Yeah.
Like it's totally fine.
Yeah. And I've been that way. Like I literally think back to like high school cliques. Like we reviewed the Breakfast Club on one of my shows. And I was like, even in high school was like what I would have called a floater. Like I was like part of every clique, like equally
Yes.
accepted in any clique, just because I had like enough in common with each of them to kind of just float between, which was great. And like,
Yes.
never had any kind of bullying or felt, out of the loop on anything. I was just sort of like quasi involved in every group.
I love that. And speaking of your diversity, when I first met you, along with however many of my last string of guests all came from Lou Mangello's
This is
Momentum.
the Momentum Lou Mangello show.
Yeah. If I just need to get sponsored. I just keep every person that's on the show, an interesting person has gone through there. It's like a master class. And I remember seeing, they were like, yeah, that's Katie Fawkes. She's like an Ecamm person. And I was like, well, I knew what Ecamm one, but I was like, I don't know what that is. So like, they were like, well, she does this and she does this and she does this. And I'm like trying to gather it all and just trying to like put you in this ball. And so you wear like a lot of creative hats. If you were to meet somebody and you bump into them like for coffee and they ask this, the prevalent question that adults ask other adults. So what do you do? What is your answer?
Oh my gosh. It again, kind of, it shifts depending on like what person I'm talking to. I remember going to Crafting Commerce last year and they did an entire session on this, like to fill out the, like, I help fill in the Mad Libs blank. People do this thing, right? And I feel like I settled on, I help people feel confident and capable on camera, which I think involves all aspects of what I do professionally. So I officially, I'm the director of marketing over at Ecamm, and we make a live streaming and video production software that does similar to what we're doing today, right? Helps people connect on video to record, podcasts, training videos, YouTube videos, live streams, any of that kind of stuff. But really, like day to day, I spend a lot of time talking with business owners, solopreneurs, content creators, YouTubers about how to be better on video, how to be more confident, capable, how to level up their video in one way or the other. So that's my Mad Libs answer that I'm trying to get better at. Give my one line answer.
And I love that because I think it helps people understand, like, you don't have to go through, like the crazy back end of what Ecamm is. Like, I know what it is. You know what it is. Like, video creators get it. Live stream. You don't have to be live stream. You could do a podcast. Like, it's one of those things where if you use Shop Talk, we're like, we get it.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I was explaining to somebody and I was telling them about our recording today. And they were like, oh, well, what does she do? And I was like, well, she works for Ecamm. And they just looked at me as if I just started speaking Klingon. And I was like, let me try to break it down. So
she's a video person.
Like in a layman's term, are you able to communicate? I know you are. Would you communicate what Ecamm is to our audience?
Sure. So Ecamm is actually software for your Mac computer. So we are a Mac specific software that you download onto your computer, and it allows you to create just about anything in the world of video. So you can record videos in any format all the way up to 4K. You can live stream or multi-stream. And it actually also has a full integration with Zoom. So you can also run like more heavily produced meetings, webinars, presentations, etc. I can do some magical things on a Zoom or a Teams or a Meet call that other people are like, whoa, how did you do that? So it really does let you do just about anything that you can imagine in the world of video. But to your earlier comment, what's kind of funny is that, like, if you don't know what you want to do on video, software like Ecamm or any of these different solutions is pretty useless. So usually I try to start off with like, I work in video and help people in the world of video, and Ecamm is sort of a later, sorry, Ken and Glenn, who run our company. Ecamm is sort of a later point because you really do need to understand what you want to accomplish or what your dream or your goal or your passion project, whatever that is, before you can really even think about what software or what hardware makes the most amount of sense. So that's why my one-liner doesn't necessarily start off with like, I work at Ecamm, because people are like, what is Ecamm? And also a lot of people then are like super into it, but they don't fully have a good understanding of what they actually want to accomplish with it, what they want to create. And that can make it really difficult when you're starting out.
It's the coolest thing. I remember the first time that I ever saw what Ecamm could do. And I was like, this is like having a whole production studio in your laptop. And see, it's more than just lower thirds, but it's videos and layouts. And I mean, the whole thing, I was like, we don't have to do all this in post. He's like, no, half the show's done by the time we hit stop. And I was like, Holy cow. So
Yeah.
if you're a creator and you're looking for this sort of thing, please reach out to the people at Ecamm. I don't even have an affiliate link. I'm just telling you, go see my friends. They'll take care of you. It's good, really good stuff.
Katie at ecamm.com. Happy to answer any of your questions or walk
There you
through.
go. Editing note for later. Put a little thing at the bottom of the screen.
Drop this lower third in. Yeah.
Yeah. Which you could do if you had Ecamm. Ding. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I love that you are just so good at, and you said this, is helping people feel confident with video. You're working with creators all the time, and not everybody, surprisingly enough, is comfortable in front of a camera, whether they're in front of a group of people, they're live, they're recording. Why do you think that so many people are afraid, or let me say trepidatious, to be on camera?
It's a really good question. And it's something I've been like really intentionally trying to think about for the last year, because I definitely felt that way. So like I was not at all comfortable in this space. And so I think if I think about my own experience on camera, I think a lot of it comes from a need to look really quote unquote professional or good at what you're doing, or like or buttoned up. Like there's just this need to, I think a little bit of it is like people please and show that you like you're delivering some level of value, right? And because video traditionally up until very, very recently has always involved like a recording process, and then normally a pretty extensive post-production process where there's editing and you're adding in graphics, etc. You have this ability to make it look as perfect as you want. So I think when people are recording a video, there's sort of this like interior monologue that's playing for many of us where it's like, oh, is this what I look like? Is this what I sound like? Oh my gosh, like I need to remember my script. You know, is that what I actually wanted to say? Oh, we can edit that later. Can I edit that later? Like there's a lot of thoughts that are going through that process where
sure.
I feel like what really made a big difference for me and what is helping a lot of people is this kind of live. So even if you're not live streaming, like a live to tape sort of process, or like a live recording process where you can actually record a video as if you were doing it live, or as if you were giving just like a presentation and being able to sort of flow through your content that way.
Yeah.
And that, even though it feels much more daunting and scary than just recording, actually can get you in a really good headspace and get you in a really good recording practice. It will help you get better a lot faster. So that is really in many ways what helped me kind of overcome those jitters. But yeah, I think it comes down to like, we want to feel capable, smart. We want to look our best. We want to sound our best. We want to deliver value. We want to be perceived as someone that is trustworthy and reliable and intelligent and capable of delivering value. So it's a little bit of an inner battle. Like even if you are that person, the moment a camera pops up, sort of we have this like, it's the same feeling when you're on stage in front of a ton of people, right? You get some butterflies you're gonna have to work your way through. It's a different kind of butterfly, but it's still there, unfortunately, in the staring down a lens rather than staring into an audience.
Yeah. I think it's funny if you ask people like, what's your greatest fear? They'd be like, oh, it's snakes, or it's being buried alive. And I'm like, I think most people, like if you ask every human being, to be perfectly honest, our greatest fear is I don't want to look stupid in front of another human being.
Yeah.
It's like,
not like
we're all
stupid
just
and then
figuring this thing out.
yeah, those are my top two. Yeah. No, it is true. Like like that honestly was the number one thing that I was really worried about when I first took the job at Ecamm. I was like very worried about being on camera. And if I really, really think about it, a lot of it was like, oh, okay, but I've been brought in here to sell Ecamm and to market Ecamm to people. And so who am I being on camera without being able to sound confident or capable? Like, what if I push the wrong button? What if the stream fails? Everyone's going to be like, well, why would I buy it from her? She doesn't know how to use the software. So like, I think it's those voices that come into our heads, even if you've been doing it for a really long time. I mean, the voices still can come in, is that really what you look like on camera? Is that what you're going to go with? It's hard. It's hard to overcome that.
Well, so like you saying that, I love that, like overcoming it or whatever. Do you think that like that camera confidence is something that you like build, or do you think it's kind of something you discover? Like you go to this place inside of your head or like your emotions where you're like, I'm tapping into this and I'm taking this on. Like for instance, like Kiss. they're all characters. Like they put on the makeup and suddenly they are the spaceman, the demon, the star child. Like instead of just like four Jewish guys from Brooklyn, you know, like they go into that place. Do you think that confidence is something that you kind of build up and do, or for you personally, is it like, I go to this place and I am suddenly like Katie, capital K?
For me, I think it could be a mix of both, depending on who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, like Kiss is a great example of that, right? Like they intentionally are putting on personas, and that like allows them to kind of have these separate characters, and they perform differently, like in real life and on stage. In my personal experience, for me, it is a practice, and it is like not a perfect practice. It's not like I am better now than I was when I first started, but it's not like I don't have days where I feel totally beside myself, or I feel like very less than confident when I'm showing up. But I think it's understanding the value that I'm delivering, understanding like who the people are on the other side and what their needs are and what my goals are in relation to that. And then I really realized pretty quickly that I actually am much, much better and much more confident and capable when I'm with someone else. So like doing interviews like this, I'm great. If I have a co-host, great. Like if there's someone else in the virtual room with me that I can talk with, awesome. If I'm by myself and I have to give like a 30-minute presentation, I still get very nervous because it's just, again, it's sort of outside my comfort level. I don't do those kinds of presentations as often as I do this. So I'm not as practiced there. And so then I do trip up or get a little bit, I don't know, uncertain, I guess, in that situation compared to when I'm with someone else. So I do play into my strengths. I know what I'm good at, and the more that I do it, the better I get at it. So yeah, for me, I think it is really a practice, less of a presentation.
I love that, playing into your strength. I think like when people figure out kind of who they are, like, instead of trying to like be something else, be like, this is who I am. Like, this is like and lean into that. Like, that's what the world needs you to be, like that authentic self. And like, I know we use that word so much, but truly, I think it's almost that becomes your strength. It's like, this is me. And I'm just like, here it is. And you just like, let that be your stage persona, but it actually is you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's like I keep saying this on literally every show. So sorry if you're following me around on all these, but it is like such an incredibly special time that we're in right now because of all of these like tools and technologies that we all have available to us. People are looking for like human connection, authenticity, the quote unquote real you. So they're not looking, to go back to your Kiss example, right? Like they're not looking for us to put on masks or to become some kind of persona. They're literally looking for you. And actually they're completely cool with the idea of like quote unquote real life things happening. So like, you know, if like my kids were to run in the middle of this interview, like that would be sort of like a laugh, memorable, real experience in this that people would be completely fine with. So those like inside thoughts of I need to be perfect, we actually can be a lot more forgiving with ourselves than we ever used to be able to be, because people really want to connect and build a community with actual people. So the more of yourself you can give and the more vulnerable you can be, I mean, obviously to a point, but like the more you're able to kind of be as real as you can be here in this video space, the better right now. So totally forgiving to be, you know, like if showing up you is like you in a Disney shirt, if showing up you is like crazy backgrounds or your cat having its own camera or whatever else, like you can lean into that. Like that, this is a great time to lean into all that.
Yeah. Something I've heard you say, and I think is really cool, is that you're like, you know, authenticity is so much more powerful than polish. You know, it matters more. Like, I love what you're saying about like the cat camera, the kids running in, like AI can't, I mean, maybe it can, but like, it really can't fake that. It's just real. And you're like, this is me. And you showed up because you like my thing and you're watching and you show up regularly and like, this is part of it. And that's like the world. Yep. It's almost like that's the magic. You know, it's just, this is who you are. And
how cool. Because we used to like overthink that and be like, well, now I've got to edit that out and I need to learn how to edit to be able to. You don't have to as much anymore. Like perfect and polished means something completely different today than it did even 3 years ago, 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago. So we're in a fun space, I think, for getting a lot more creative and for anyone to be able to do this. So like you do not have to have like years and years and years of education or a background in any of this to be successful in these spaces, which is great. It's like level setting and really, I don't know, like a cool opportunity for just about anyone to be able to create whatever they have in mind.
Yeah. And I think like to lean into that statement, like every person who is sitting on the outside of something, just like, do I start? Do I do this thing? I'm not quite sure. All it takes is one inspirational story or an example that they see. And so I love a story, whether it's a flop story, a super great success. So for you, like, what was the moment for you that you jumped in and was either super terrifying and or the moment where you like, oh, I got this. Like, I can do this. Like, what was that moment for you that like this, you'd be the story that you're like, I need someone to hear this. So for that, they need to start showing up online on video.
Okay, here's my story. I've told this a bunch of times and it doesn't get less humiliating, but here we are. Here we are with the real actual story. So years back, two jobs ago, I worked at a company called Paint Night. They probably are like rolling their eyes if they ever see me in all these interviews talking about this. But I worked as the director of local marketing there. So that business model at the time had similar to franchisees. So there was like hundreds of business owners that ran these paint and sip parties across North America. And then there was a central marketing team that provided them with like marketing best practices, resources, assets, like all that kind of stuff. So it was my team's job to give them advice and support and everything they needed to be successful as far as marketing their businesses. So part of that was training videos. And I was abysmal at it. Like, I'm really good at every other aspect of my job. I'm super detail oriented. So like putting together a marketing package, done. Getting on a call, like talking it through with them, no problem. The second the videography team showed up, which I think was like once a month or once every other month, there was like a whole team and they would block off the whole day and we'd have to go into like this different room where the recordings were happening. And I again, theater background, wanted to be an actress. So like totally fine with memorizing lines. I would plan it all out, memorize my script, go in. And literally the second that the camera would come up pointed towards me, I would start to like shake. Tears welling in my eyes. Like I'm not joking. Like this is the actual, it was horrific. Like, and they were so kind. Like they'd be like, we can do another take. We can come back another day. Like, and I punted so much of it down the road. Like I'm like later, yeah, I'm having an off day. And I would get through it. So once a month or whatever, I think it was once a month, they would come in and I would just do my best. And I'm sure they spent so much time in post-production editing stuff to make it work. And sending it out to all these people who are watching and being like, is this woman okay? Like she seems a little sad. So then hilariously, super ironically, flash forward 2 jobs. I had started at Ecamm and I started at the company working as a contractor. So they had never done any marketing before. And at the time, Ecamm they were selling a number of other apps, but the main product was this live streaming tool. And at the time, it was predominantly a live streaming app. And so they were like, we need someone to interview all of these incredible big name experts that are, have these huge YouTube channels who've been doing video production for like their entire careers. We need someone to interview them and like pull out all these incredible stories. And I'm like, oh, no problem. Like I believe in this. I can do this. And it was interview, I think, and I said this, I think I mentioned it. I think it was interview like 9 before I actually show up on camera, like every week. So I like scheduled it all out. I did all the branding, got everything. I booked all of the guests. And then like literally it'd be an hour before we were about to go live. And I had all my notes and questions, and Ken and Glenn could like see like me starting to get more nervous. And they'd be like, oh, like, we can interview today. And so it was like Ken, like our co-founders, right? So Ken would interview, Glenn would interview, our director of customer support who like hates being on camera. She did interviews before me until finally I sucked it up and went on camera because I loved the job. I loved the people. I loved the idea of video. I loved the idea of live streaming, the ability to connect with people, like, and give everyone a voice and story. Like everything about it was so cool to me. But the idea of again, like, looking stupid, pushing the wrong button, making the brand look bad. Like all of those voices came into my head. And it like, I did, I think it was episode 8 or 9. That was my episode. That was my first live stream. And then since then I've lost count, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of live interviews or recorded interviews like this. on every conceivable type of show. And I now am live 3 times a week, once for Ecamm, twice for personal shows I do for fun now. So it, and that's hasn't been, I guess I've been at Ecamm in the next couple of weeks, it'll be 7 years. So,
wow.
So let's call it, 7 years from start to finish, from like literally hating the idea of being on camera and physically like responding physically to it, like shaking, like sweating, just looking a hot mess. To now I feel like it's just such a fun experience. Now I actually have to be careful. I'm like, now I overbook my calendar and I'm like, shoot, I said yes to all these things. So it is, in that time, in over those years, I have learned that the people that you meet and the stories that you hear, like the amount of people that have come back to me over the years that have said that like this software changed their lives. This, the ability to go live and build a show, like, was literally like life-saving for them. Or, there was a woman that was recording videos with her kids that they were like, doing interviews with the kids' grandparents that they were like saving in like a memory, like a digital memory book. Like the ability to connect with people by video is hugely impactful and so important. So all of the voices kind of irrelevant. Like I really just needed to get over myself and remember that it actually like isn't about me. It's about everyone else on the other side who actually really needs these tools to do all kinds of incredible things, from just for fun shows to fundraisers that are literally saving lives to everything in between. So, it was an experience, and it's laughable now. Like I literally took this job being like, oh, I'll just stay behind the scenes. And then it was very obvious I wasn't going to be able to. And I had to make a decision. It was like, if I have to stay with, if I want to keep this job, I'm going to have to suck it up and be on camera, which I'm kind of glad that I was backed into that corner, because I don't know if I would have done it if I hadn't had that level of, I need to do this. I like, no more excuses. I just have to do it. I have to show up.
Our conversation continues after this. Hey listener, if you've been enjoying the show and want to be a bigger part of what we're building here, I'd love to invite you to join the Patreon. It's a great way to support the podcast, and in return, you get access to some fun stuff like behind the scenes updates, bonus content, and even some one-of-a-kind swag like stickers, buttons, and a members-only t-shirt. It helps keep the lights on around here, the conversations flowing, and making this thing something special. So if you're in, come grab your spot. From the balcony to the VIP lounge, each tier brings you deeper into the world of the show. Just head to patreon.com/The Zach Brown Show. I'll see you on the inside. This show is sponsored by Thousand Circles, where we believe in the still moments. The ones between the fireworks, the ones that most people rush past. A lantern overhead at Katsura Grill, a quiet corner of a park, briefly yours alone. The hush of a lobby at sunrise, flowers in bloom, light pouring in. These images aren't just photographs, they're reflections of where we've been and the stories that shaped us. And now you can bring those stories home as posters, canvases, or aluminum prints. Beautifully crafted pieces that blend into your space but speak straight to your heart. It's a subtle celebration of fandom for an aesthetic life, because each of us has our own story to tell. But when we bring them together, they form something more. 1,000 memories, 1,000 quiet joys, 1,000 circles round the sun. So take a breath, look closer, and bring a little light to your journey. ThousandCircles.com. Scenes from your happy place. And now back to our show. So Katie, in addition to all the things that you're doing over at Ecamm, one of those personal projects that you talked about is the VHS Club. And this is a creative project that is so near and dear to my heart. It is wonderful. I have been so fortunate to have been a guest on one of the episodes. So I just need to know, like, how did that begin? What was the idea that you were like, I need to go and make this other thing?
Oh man, God bless my best friend Nat. She's so patient with me. I had been working at Ecamm for maybe like 4 years or five, like, but halfway through my 7 years, let's say, roughly. And so Nat and I, my best friend Nat and I grew up across the street from each other. So we talked at the beginning about my childhood. She was the person who, like, we literally were like running back and forth across the street and literally like grew up at each other's houses, lived at each other's houses. Every movie night had her in it to some extent or another. But I moved. And so we'd been doing kind of this idea of like virtual movie nights, and we were jokingly calling them BFF chats. So another embarrassing story for you, and I don't know if I've said this one out loud or not. But
hold on, I have to stop. I love when my favorite moment is when somebody's on the show and they go, I don't know if I've ever told this before, and I'm watching this moment of flop sweat, and then they tell the greatest story ever. I
probably have, but who knows? My memory is getting worse and worse. But I was so terrible on the like, how terrible at video were you, Katie? Question. I was so hated the idea of video so much that my closest friend in the world, who lives 4.5, 5 hours from me, I would force her to do a text message chat while we watch movies because I hated being on video. And being on video was like just me and her on like a FaceTime call. Like I was like, no. And she was like, well, maybe we could do an audio call. And I was like, also, no, let's just chat back and forth. So every Thursday, it started being every Thursday night, we were chatting throughout the week, but every Thursday night we would pick a movie or a TV series or something we were watching, and we would watch it back and forth together. Eventually I was like, okay, I guess we can do it as a phone call. Okay, I guess we can do it as a video call. And then once we had sort of been doing that for a while, I had been doing I do a show called The Flow for Ecamm, which is all about how to start podcasting and implementing video into your podcast for work with the one and only Doc Rock over on the Ecamm channels. And he started challenging me because he was basically, and still is, like, he produces that entire show and I'm just the co-host that shows up and says things. So I hadn't been pushing any buttons with Ecamm, but I had to, in my day-to-day job, have to answer a lot of questions about it. And so I felt kind of like a little bit of a fraud. Like, it's like, well, I know the software, I'm in it all the time, but I'm not actually using it myself for any kinds of projects. So like, I don't really know how it feels to create a YouTube channel, grow a YouTube channel. I don't really know how it feels to live stream or multi-stream at the same time. Like, how hard is it? I keep telling people it's easy and that anyone can do it. Is it actually easy? Can anyone do it? So I said to Nat, I'm like, well, we could just do our movie chats as a show. Like, it would be kind of funny. And we had friends at that point that had podcasts. And I was like, like, we could just see what happens. Like, whether or not you'd be up for this. And I was like, the downside is that, like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to live stream it and we're going to do it by video and I'm going to like produce it all in Ecamm. So like you'd have to be on camera. You'd have to be on camera live. And meanwhile, it took me forever to get on camera. And this poor woman, she was like, all right, I guess like, send me a list of what you need me to buy for my home. Like, what camera do I need? What microphone? So it started as this idea. Like, I think I literally told her, I'm like, no one will come. Like, and that's fine. Like, we're just going to do this literally for fun. What a way to sell
the friend of joy. Yeah, nobody's coming to this.
We're literally just doing this for ourselves. Like, this is just like our video call, only it's public facing on YouTube, just to see how it goes. She was like, all right. And
sure, I'm down.
And then people just started showing up, and Doc, because he's Doc, like, every time that we're like on somewhere else, he's like, tell them about the VHS Club. And so I like apprehensively, I'm like, oh yeah, I have this podcast. And people seem to hilariously care way more about that show than they do about anything else that I do. So it's awesome. Now become this like really fun project. And this very special community of people that show up and give their time every Thursday night. They're like, they're in the chat, they're hanging out. It's now this like fun group text message chat that I initially really wanted. So yeah, it's a special experience. And I've learned so much by doing it. Like, again, I had been working at Ecamm for years. I was using the software, but it is different when it's your own and when you have to create things by yourself, and I have zero budget and it's just me. So I can now speak honestly to people when they ask questions like, how hard is it? How much time does it take? How expensive is it? How fast does a YouTube channel grow? I feel like I can confidently answer those questions. So it's checked all the boxes for me, and it's just fun. And I've intentionally kept it like, I'm not trying to get to 1 million subscribers, make $1 million, do this professionally. Like, this is great if that happens, but this is just for me, it's just a really fun project, and it lets me learn and play and spend time with my closest friends. So it checks every box for me. And I'm so, again, grateful that I stupidly decided to do it. I was like, let's just do this. And so grateful that Nat was like, sure, all in for this crazy idea.
I love it. It's such a fun show. It's so genuine. Like, you guys it's not one of those, like, we're going to talk through the whole movie, like acts 1 through 3. Like, you just got, like, just start throwing the quotes out that you like and the parts, and just the free flow nature, because like we love these movies. Like, they're so near and dear to us. Why do you think that, like, movies from the 80s and the 90s, like, still means so much to people? Like, they haven't just I mean, sure, there's some that don't hold up, but for the most part, like, they're our comfort blankets. Like, what is it about them, do you think?
Well, we've hit that age, unfortunately. We've hit that age where we are, like, nostalgic for our childhoods and for this, like, better time. Was it better? Who's to say? But it feels that way for us. And I think we have now, many of us, disposable income and time. And so, like, it's fun to go back to that time, to those feelings. It's fun to get to, like, really chat with people about who can relate to some extent or another. So these are the movies that raised us. And I think so there's, for a certain generation, it is like a really special time, in the same way that I'm sure it was for our parents when they were this age and they were like, let me play you this song on the radio. And we were like, eye roll. We don't listen to this song on the radio. Like, I think it's just it's caught up in this idea, in a couple different ideas. I think the show works for a few different reasons. One, it's this idea of friendship, and it's not film studies. It's just like community and spending time together. The second is the nostalgic aspect. And then the third is that, again, I think we're in a day and age where everything is so digital and, like, so fast paced and doom scrolling and AI that people are really, like, yearning for analog physical media. Like, there is a resurgence of people buying VHS, DVDs, records, like all these things, so that they don't have, like, an autoplay, so that when they're spending time with things, they're doing it intentionally. So I think we did kind of catch a little bit of magic in that space, that the timing just really worked out well. Not to say we're, like, again, we are not at millions of subscribers yet, but we do have a really special, great community. And I feel really proud of the work we've done there.
Yeah, it is really special. Like, the people that you have that show up. It's funny because, like, oftentimes your show goes live when I'm getting out of rehearsal and driving, so I don't quite get to line up for the live, but I listen, and it's great because the way you do your show, you guys are interacting very much with your audience, your friends, your community. And so, like, in a weird way, like, even though, like, somebody could maybe not know these people, you're listening, and it's almost like they're characters in the show. Like, oh, we talk about Val, and we talk about Josh, and we talk about, like, Doc, and there's these names, and it's like, oh, like, it's almost like they're like Siskel and Ebert and Leonard Maltin. Like, we're like, what do they think of this film? And they're just kind of like part of it. And we're all just, it's like, we're all tasting fine wines. Again, what notes are you getting?
We sure are.
I just love the thing. Like, it's cozy. You just said it. Like, there's something about, like, not being able to hit, like, just the autoplay, the physical media of, like, there were commercials that were baked into the front, and you knew every single commercial that was in your favorite, like, movie. You almost could, like, it's like a song, like, you knew what thing was coming. So for you, Katie, if you were to pick, I'm going to make you pick your favorite child. What are some movies that instantly transport you back to those, like, nights with Nat, or, like, hanging out in the neighborhood?
Oh gosh. I mean, virtually anything from John Hughes.
Perfect.
It takes me right back right there. Clue, which we have done, is a big one.
So good.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Those are probably the biggest of them. I mean, we are huge Star Wars fans. We made our tapes cry the amount of times we watched and rewatched Star Wars. Which no one in our audience likes, which I find absolutely hilarious. But Nat and I, like, grew up watching, like, endless slasher movies. So like every single Scream movie on repeat, every single Friday the 13th, every single like all of those. And then every time we try to do them, everyone is just like still shows up, which blows my mind. They still are there but they're like, everyone's like, oh, I don't watch horror movies, but I'm just here to hang out. Like I would never watch this movie, but do continue talking about it.
That's the magic of what you guys have created. To say like, hey, for an hour, we're going to talk about something that is not
you hate.
Yeah, but they still show up because they want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Katie, that's so special.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. Okay, this is going to sound all metaphysical, but I think we all have these, whether people want to admit them or not. We all have them. Is there a movie or a selection of movies that they're kind of from that 80s, 90s era that you feel kind of shapes how you look at the world today?
Oh, again, probably John Hughes movies.
The man just was special.
I know, because it like in a kind of a weird way, and maybe this is the Canadianism of it all, but growing up in Canada, we watched, so John Hughes movies are a good example of this, but honestly, like every single piece of media that had to do with the high school experience was nothing at all like the high school experience in any of the high schools in the Montreal area, maybe different in other parts of Canada. But like at the time that I went through high school, there was not a single high school in Montreal that had like cheerleaders, a football team. Like that was like not a thing. So I think that there was this like idea, or like a school TV station, a school, like a lot of the things that many of you grew up with that I now know actually exist. We literally only thought that was in movies, or like maybe existed like in, I don't know, LA. Like it was just sort of this. So I grew up with these in a weirdly nostalgic way where I feel like I always knew that movie high school was fictional and yet is still so close to my heart for like the high school experience, which is a weird feeling. Like, I honestly grew up at another ridiculous story. I honestly grew up. So at the time where like the internet was becoming a thing, and the only zip code we knew was 90210 from the TV show. So when we had to like put in like an address, we were like some fake street, and then we live in 90210 because that was literally the only zip code we knew. And just had no concept of what existed past that. So yeah, I think yes, but in a very weird, picturesque, not realistic way. But we were aware of that. So think that's okay? I think it's okay.
I love that. And I love that you get to do this with one of your childhood best friends. Like I get to do a lot with my friend Corey. He's one of the, executive producers of this show, and we do so many things together. Like I know how special it is to get to create with someone that knows the things that make up who you are today. Like all your little interests, your weird little idiosyncrasies, like they've been there through all of that. Like all the skeletons in the closet, the weird inside jokes, the weird language are like, I get you, man. So like, is there something about working with Nat that like, what is it for you is the special working with someone that you knew before, like life got life? Like that she's just with you through all this. What is different about working with her in comparison to like the other creators that you work with? That was a big long run on sentence.
No,
I do talk for a living.
You're good. I'm terrible for run on sentence questions, so I can't say anything back at you. Yeah, I mean, Nat has always been my like creative partner, and like sidekick's not the right word because that implies that she's like secondary to me, which is not the case. But
great clarification.
To definitely creative partner. Like back when we were teenagers, we used to write novels together. We would literally like run chapters back and forth through. So we've always been creating together, and so I feel like it's a safe space where she knows like what I might get control freaky on, and I know like where she might have a great idea, and I feel like there's at no point like we're going to just like scream out awesome ideas at each other and no one's going to be like, whoa, wait, like, I don't know if we're going to be able to. So it feels like a safe space. It feels like a really creative space. And I feel like we just intuitively know who's best at what. So there's no point where it's like, we don't even need to say like who's doing what. We know who's doing what just because we worked for so long together on so many like projects, like fun, just for fun, like friendship things. And I mean, we were like, again, we lived next door to each other for years. In college, we lived in the same apartment. Like we have been like, like sidekicks for years and years and years. So, I think it's just easy. It's easy and it allows it to stay creative and playful and fun. There's no ego in it, which is really unique and nice. Like no one is like, well, we're not hitting our numbers, because we both know that we're just here to spend time together and to have fun with it. So there's no pressure, and it just always feels fun.
Yeah. And I think for me, and tell me if you feel this way, like when I talk with Corey, like it's because we've known each other since we were 6 years old. Like it's cool. I thought about this the other day because we've always done so many creative things together. We first met in like a nursery room together at the Lego table. And I was like, our very first thing we were ever doing together was a creative project.
It was building together. Yeah.
We were building. And I think like no matter what season of life I'm in, whether it's fun, it's hard, it's chaotic, and I'm, leaving one project and taking on another. Like, I know that when I'm working with him, it kind of like grounds me with like the truest form of myself. Like it takes me back to like the 16-year-old kid in the neighborhood at the bonfire, like making jokes and stories. They're the things that we still pull from today. Like, do you have those moments with Nat where you're like, no matter what's going on, that you're like, this keeps me to like the old version of myself, like my truest self?
Yeah. And I will say, I'm always doing a million and one things. And so I feel like my memory gets worse and worse the older I get. And Nat is like the opposite. She's becoming more Yoda-like the older she gets. So she's also like so great at reminding me of those memories, of those moments, like even when she's not directly doing it, just like even in things that she says takes me back to those times. So yeah, I think part of it is just nice to have someone that you can be nostalgic with that just gets it. And the other part of it, as you said, I think really does have to do with like grounding in who you are and getting you back, I think, to like who you wanted to be. I don't know about you, but I
love that. Yes.
I feel like I've had a lot of different versions of myself, and who I am right now isn't necessarily who I wanted to be. And a lot of the things I'm doing now, like creatively doing, are not the same things that I was creatively doing when we were growing up. And so she is good about being like, hey, we should write together at some point. And I'm always like, oh, I don't know. And she's like, we're good at writing. You're good at writing. Like, so she is good at sort of reminding me of things that I may have set down along the way that maybe I'm ready to pick up and maybe I'm not, but she is good at sort of reminding me that like that was a big part of who I was, and probably I should pick some of that back up and see how I feel about it now, or what that looks like as an adult versus what it was like when I was 15 or 16.
You guys could do like the John Hughes companion journal, and it's like breaks down all the movies and the things you need to pay attention to. I'll write the forward. It's all good.
All right. Perfect. We're in team project, best friend project. You and your best friend, me and my would be great.
Corey, we're doing this thing with these people. What? Yeah, it's fine. We're just come along. Let's take a break for a second. If you're like me, you probably wear clothes every day. You wake up and wonder, what am I going to wear today? Same old boring shirt as yesterday? No thanks. But don't worry, I've got you covered. You can order your very own Zach Brown t-shirt today. Visit the Zach Brown Show-shop.fourthwall.com, or you can just check the show notes for a link. In addition to t-shirts, we've got other fun stuff like hats, stickers, mugs, and more. Get your Zach Brown Show gear only on fourthwall.com.
The vacation you've been waiting for is finally here. Make memories that last a lifetime. Cliché travel commercial statement. The ultimate escape is just a phone call away. Call 555-B-BAY for a free vacation guide.
All right.
Bombaboo Bay, a vacation like no other.
All right, let's get back to the show. So as if Ecamm and the VHS Club were not enough, the amazing Katie Fawkes decided that she needed to be doing something else with her free time.
With my quote-unquote free time, yeah.
So friend of the show, Jeff C., and you have collaborated, another team effort, put together this incredible live show called The Maker's Table. Where did that idea come from?
So I can't remember if we talked about this like in the recording or if we talked about it before we jumped on, but I am like a serial hobbyist. So I do a lot of different things, solidly okay at a lot of different things. And one of the things that I started doing maybe I'm going to say a few years ago now, I always wanted to learn how to either like knit or crochet. And the reason for that was that I found that the older I got, the more that I was like fidgeting and like I'm not able to focus on things, probably largely honestly from the amount of time that I spend in the digital world. So I was like, even when I was watching TV or doing things, I was like always wanting to hold my phone or like look at things, and I didn't like that feeling. So I taught myself how to crochet, and it ended up being crochet over knitting for I don't even really know what reason, but taught myself how to crochet so that I could do that while I watched TV, so that I like would feel better that I was doing something like, and then also just like could take that with me. Like it was again, kind of an analog craft that I could do. That was a creative thing that wasn't digital or on the screen. And I was sort of doing that quietly. Actually, like there's an example. I was doing that by myself and I was doing it quietly. I didn't really care about the end result of any of that. Like I actually still could care less like how the finished pieces come out. I just want like, I like the act of doing it and it makes me feel like I'm doing creative things. And I like how it looks, even if it doesn't turn out perfectly. Yeah. And so I was sharing sort of photos of that or progress of that on social media here and there as, as projects were kind of unfolding. And I found that like, those were the things that people wanted to talk with me about. So like in the same way that like everyone just wanted to ask me questions about the VHS Club, I would like show up in places and people would be like, oh, Katie's an amazing crocheter. And I was like, I am not. I am solidly okay at crocheting. And they would want to like know how to crochet, and crochet was becoming like this more popular hobby because more people again are trying to find ways to unplug and get away from things. So it just sort of became this thing where I was like, oh, I'm sort of intentionally trying to put myself in these places on camera to build confidence and to be as vulnerable as I can, to let people know it's fine to be yourself on camera, to show up in these kinds of places and to bring kind of your flaws and all. So I was like, oh, well, I could just like start, recording some of the like, as I'm crocheting, or like maybe people want to learn how to crochet. I'm probably not the right person to teach them, but I'm doing it. I'm sitting here. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just like, maybe people just in the same way I love going to like a scrapbooking weekend and just like see what people are working on and chat. Maybe people just want to hang out and like, and get the chance to just like unplug. And so I started thinking that through a little bit more. And again, because I don't do anything by myself, I was chatting with Jeff about it. And he was like, oh, well, I used to carve during the pandemic. I would just turn my camera on and carve and like literally wouldn't even talk. I would just have music going. And he's like, people would show up and just spend time with me. I was like, well, we could do that. We have Ecamm. We could just turn cameras on and you could carve and I could crochet. So that show like sort of came out of this idea of like, maybe we could just give people the chance to unplug. And I know it's digital, so we're like not fully unplugging, but the idea of like, okay, like it's a Friday. Let's just all take a deep breath. We're just like, we're not going to do this properly. I mess up. It's so hard to crochet and talk. I'm like, well, we got to pull that out again. But it is a nice, like, it's giving me time and space to be crafty and creative and to have that conversation, which I really enjoy. We're never talking about like work. We're never like, it's just like a time to come together in a way that feels really relaxing and fun and intentional. So I'm glad I did it. It is one more thing that we have to like work on. We're sort of like, though, Jeff is great about this, where it's like, we will market it as we're able to. And again, the goal is not to take over the world. The goal is to let people have a time and a space to come and join us. So we're slowly kind of ramping up and figuring out what show that will be and what that will look like as we go forward. Yeah. But for now, it's just hang out.
I love it. It's typically Friday's typically like my day off when I'm just kind of recharging and resetting for the week ahead. And
Yeah.
so when you guys show up, it's, 2 p.m. Eastern, I will sit and watch. And I really try to be very intentional about sitting like my phone down and not doing anything and just watch.
Yay.
It is the most cathartic hour.
Sweet,
I'm telling
that's
you.
the goal.
Oh, this is like, I told Jeff, I was like, this is like the new Bob Ross, but I'm actually getting to interact with these people, these 2 people that I love, that I get to watch. And I'm like, this is great. And y'all ask questions. And then sometimes, like, I'm like, here's my thought on that. But you just keep knitting. And I'm like, what's Jeff doing? And I check over, look at what Katie's doing. And I'm just watching.
Cutting himself. Doing all kinds of crazy things.
And it's funny because like, you'll be like, oh, I messed up. And you just go back and you like, I've got to go back to stage, whatever. And then you're just doing the thing. And I'm like, wow. I'm just like zoned in. It is amazing. And I'm telling you, guys have tapped into something that I think most adults don't do. Kids play. They have, like their craft time and whatever. Why do you think that adults stop making times? I'm talking about making time to make things just for fun, just for the joy of it.
We make ourselves intentionally busy. And I mean, this is me speaking of myself. Who knows what other people think, but I want to, I'm competitive. I want to win. I want to be good at my job. I want to be a good parent. I want to be a good partner. So a lot of the times I'm like filling my time in ways that probably aren't overly helpful. And I'm thinking about myself last in many cases. So I think we need to be intentional. I'm telling my kids all the time, like, you need to unplug, you need to go outside. Spending time with friends is as important as getting good grades, as doing like these other things. Like these are things you need to make time for. And so it sort of just hit me that I'm like, oh, like I'm making time, quote unquote, for all these other different things, but I'm rarely, if ever, making time for myself. And when I am, I'm feeling bad about it, right? I'm watching like a true crime show and I'm like, well, this is not the best use of my time. But it is, if it's helping me to unplug, and if it's, or if it's me with a friend and we're geeking out about whatever thing, or I'm crocheting while I'm doing it, right? So I think I think it's something that has to be intentional. I think it's just easy to sort of to grow up and get away from that. I felt it a lot because I went through school for an English literature degree. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I always loved reading. And as I went into university, I wanted to be a writer. So like I loved stories. There were particular authors that I was ride or die for. I was a huge Shakespeare geek. Like I knew all of that stuff.
Look at you.
And I feel like coming out of that education, I was almost a little bit, I hate to use the word burned out because that's not really like entirely correct, but it took me a while to get back into reading for pleasure. And I feel like I had a voice in the back of my head that was like, well, are you really reading that like beach read book instead of like a canon? Like, shouldn't you be reading something better? Like, shouldn't you be reading shouldn't you be reading Shakespeare? Shouldn't you be reading if you define yourself as like an English literature person, like, why are you reading that? And so like, I had to kind of get away from that voice and be like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm going to read some like quote unquote garbage books and nonfiction books and classical literature and everything in between. And I'm going to make time for that. But I think that's the same voice that goes through our head with like spending time to do crafts or like art projects or like things that are childish things. It's like, oh, well, that's not moving your career forward or making you a better parent or whatever else in between. So we write it off as not important or like that, what will people think if you're doing that instead of doing these other things that are more important? But no one actually cares what you're doing. So you should just do the things. In fact, people ask you why you're not crocheting more and why you're not teaching other people how to crochet. So you might find that people actually want to know those parts of you. It's kind of crazy. My favorite
quote from this past hour has been, no one cares about what you're doing, so just do the thing.
Just do the thing. Just do the thing. We all think everyone cares. It's been so eye-opening. Like the things that I thought people had zero interest in are like my top performing posts of all time. Like some random thing that I was just like, oh, I'll get a photo of that. That's
so good.
People care about things you don't even think, and they are not at all paying attention to things that you really think that they care about. So it's
and we're such in a digital world. Like everything is just behind this little tiny, like, 9-inch glass that we all carry around in our pocket. And for me, I love tangible. Like yesterday I spent probably 2 hours at Barnes & Noble. Could I have ordered these things from Amazon? Yes, but I wanted to walk through. I wanted to smell the books. I wanted to smell the coffee shop. I wanted to pick them up. I wanted to feel them. Like all the senses were engaged. And it was wonderful. It was lovely. It was funny. I was like, I'm currently reading through the Dungeon Crawler Carl
Yes,
book.
people have been raving about this book. I'm like,
it's so good.
Coming up. It's coming up on my list.
And I don't know how many of them there are. There's like
there's
flip ton of these books.
Yeah.
So I go and there's a table of these books. And Katie, I kid you not, one of them it looks like an Encyclopedia Britannica. Like the thing is just gigantic. Yeah. And I was like, holy cow, I'm gonna have to buy a whole new shelf if I'm gonna continue buying the tangible version of this. But like a Kindle, there's a Kindle thing, like that psychs me out because I can't see the progress. I don't care if there's a progress bar or another thing. Like I want to see where my bookmark is moving through. I have a huge shelf of records behind me. Like I love that physical thing. Why do you think that tactile, the tangible, what is it about working with your hands that you think is so grounding in our world?
I don't know if I totally know the answer to that one.
That's perfectly fine answer.
I think it feels attainable to some extent. Like a lot of the digital stuff feels like there's a million and one different ways to do it. And it all feels kind of big, like endless possibilities. Whereas I feel like a physical thing, it feels more like intentionally boxed in, which I think feels maybe safer, easier, more, I don't know, doable. I could totally be wrong, but and then I think also there's something about like the aesthetic of things, like having a physical book, putting it onto a shelf, like displaying those, but like there's sort of a collector's
I read this.
and I think that there is an aesthetic that goes to it where some of it is just like we like to collect and to display and to share with people, and that it is harder in the digital space to do that. It's also endlessly distracting online. So like there is something grounding about like I like just me and this book. If I get bored, then like I'll have to walk away and find something else to do. It's not like there's notifications coming in or things that you could be doing. So there is kind of a nice grounding nature to the fact that like it's just you and the thing. There's nothing else to kind of take you away from that.
Oh, I like that. Somebody asked me the other day, I posted a picture like on my story and they were like, would you mind explaining your reading style to me? And I was like,
wow.
Oh. And at first
care
it was funny
things.
Because I commented and I was like, well, I mean, I like sci-fi and I like biographies and I kind of like answer this thing. And he was like, no, I mean like your book, like your stack is so big. Like, do you read one at a time? I was like, I have to read 3 to 5 books at a time. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, I get distracted and I get bored because like, if this book is just not kind of like getting me right now, I'm like, okay, I'm going to set that down. I'm going to really focus on this one for a little bit. And so I'll jump from like James Bond to Lionel Richie's autobiography to Dungeon Crawler Carl to, a Star Wars book. It's just this like thing. Like, but like you said, when you don't have the endless possibility of like the internet and all of a sudden a notification pops up, like a notification is not going to pop up in the middle of an Agatha Christie novel.
Nope.
And so it's like I could just hold this thing and be like, someone made this.
Yeah.
And I'm getting lost in this right now.
Exactly.
And I love it. And I'm going to get started on Agatha Christie soon. I've seen your stack and I just picked up book 1.
Ooh, are you reading them in order? Look at you.
Well, I thought about it. I was like, let's start at 1 and I'll bounce around.
Okay. All right.
So I'll be checking in with you. Like, where do I need to go next?
I mean, I'm the wrong person now. I signed up for the Agatha Christie reading challenge. And so they give you, it's just like on her Agatha Christie's Instagram, but you, which she doesn't know she has an Instagram, but her people have an Instagram for her. But it put them in like, so it's 1 per month, which feels much more doable than my crazy challenge of like all of them this year, but 1 a month. And then it has like different topics. So I think like last month was short story collection. So like it was one of the ones that had short stories. This month was like, books that are easiest to read in one sitting. And so there's a number 1 option and then there's like backups if you already had read those ones or didn't want to read them. So
fun.
Yeah, all different ways you could read them. But yeah, normally I would be the in order person, but I will say it's kind of been fun to just be like all over the place.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a completist, but I like the idea of like the jumping around and like whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so I might not just go to book 2 next, we'll see.
Yeah, you never know. Yep.
All right. It's time for my rapid fire question, which I'm making this sound like this is a thing. I've never done this before. But I was like, what are some questions?
Timer.
Yeah. But I was like, I want to ask questions that are just so Katie and just your like, to me, Katie, you are if like, when you go into like Blockbuster Video, as if we can still do this, and there's like all the grab candies and all the things right there. Like, it's like if that whole aisle just wished to be a person to me is Katie. It's just like, This is fun. Look at all the colors and all the options. This is great. So
excellent. That is my life goal, is to be that. So that's perfect. I appreciate that.
So what was your favorite VHS tape that you wore out?
See, I knew that these would be hard. I can't remember when I wore out. It's probably Star Wars. But I had a collector's like box edition, so I didn't wear those ones out. So maybe I'm lying to you.
I
feel like we wore out some Star Wars
VHS right there. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's a really hard question.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Best movie snack.
Jeepers. These days, probably cheese. I know it's not a movie snack. I love cheese. I love a cheese board. Cheese or ice cream are like you deserve it. Go ahead and have that snack.
Definitely a dairy product of some kind.
Dairy product of some kind. I do love movie theater popcorn, but I feel like it's very hard to make at home. I have like a whole popcorn maker.
It's not.
I'm probably more of a salty person than a sweet person, with the exception of ice cream.
Do you mix candy into your popcorn?
No. I don't mix candy into my pop. I will eat like them simultaneously, but I'm not going to throw a handful of candy. No judgment. If you do that, that's totally your thing. But I'm not going to do that.
I can remember a Blockbuster night, and we had bought, what was the brand? It was like Act 2 popcorn or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, I remember that too. Yeah.
And we had made a big bowl of that, and I'm telling you, I'll never forget my dad coming home, and he'd put like peanut M&Ms, like he just like leaned over my bowl and he poured them in, and as like a kid, I remember going,
You're like, I'm just going to take this to the garbage. I'll be right back.
I didn't know you could do that. Like, what is that?
Did it blow your mind in a good way?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, we've mixed these two things that I've only ever known exclusively as their own selves.
I do love pizza. That's not a snack, but like the idea of like pizza / movie night, I really love that as a all in for,
I'm a sucker for those goofy, like, okay, build your 90s movie night. You got to pick a movie from this list and a candy from this list and a food and a video game. And I'm like, I'm all about this.
Same. Love it. It's always different too. I'm like that one and that. It's a whole process.
I just realized that these questions are just getting harder as I'm going.
If
you could pick a fictional world in a movie that you could live in, where would it be? Now you could say like Ferris Bueller's Chicago, but like you were at like Shermer High or something like.
Yeah, it's probably like John Hughes Chicago.
100%.
Yeah, it's probably John Hughes Chicago.
Yeah. I just want to go hang out with Ferris Bueller. That's it.
I would like to have the iconic high school experience that doesn't exist in Canada. I would like to go back and I would probably be terrible at it because I'm like not a cheerleader, but I think I would be really fun. I would like to go back to with like mascots and I don't know. They had like all these cool things, stores. I don't know, weird things.
Stores.
That we didn't have.
No, I'm with you because like I was homeschooled like my entire education.
Oh, so yeah, so you also had like Letterman jackets. Like, what's that? That sounds cool. I never had anyone put a Letterman jacket on me. That sounds awesome.
Here's how like much of a movie dork I am. Like going through high school to get my high school certificate. I don't know about other states, but in Florida, you'd have to go to a place and like get your high school diploma with people who are going to get their GED. It was at the high school where like all my buddies went. Mm-hmm. And so I remember like walking in super early and just walking through the halls and I'm like, this looks nothing like Breakfast Club. Right? And just be like, that was my thought. And again, like in like the end of high school. And then I remember JCPenney was running some sort of like varsity section and they were selling Letterman jackets. And I was like, varsity, I have to get one of these.
That's not a thing. Like,
yeah.
We didn't have
again, it was just chasing the movie emotion. So dumb.
Yeah, any of that at all. I like, and I think some of it too is like, only Southern as well. But like the idea of like the whole town goes out for the football game. And I was like, what? That's awesome. It's like, none of that. And none of that's true. So yeah, whatever fictional world that's in, that sounds fun. Sign me up for that.
The thing that we all wish could just randomly happen when we have a very large task to do is the classic 80s montage. So what would be the 80s montage song for your busy day?
Oh my gosh, these are so hard.
I know. As I typed them up, I'm like not realizing that they were as hard as they are.
What would be Girls Just Want to Have Fun? I'm going to go with Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right. Goodness.
I like that.
All right.
That'll have to. Ding. What you guys didn't see is that before we started, I did a coffee tunes with Katie, and I was like, "What song is it going to be?" It's going to be Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Yeah.
If there was a movie title about if there's a movie about your life, what would the title be?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have you writing these for me. If there's a movie title about my life. Jeepers, it might still just be Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
And that's perfectly fine because then you've already got the title track. It's perfect.
I have the title track. I have the montage scene. It already exists as a movie. I'll just put myself into it.
You just Photoshop out Sarah Jessica Parker.
So yeah, definitely. I would definitely be Sarah Jessica Parker. I am not as cool as Helen Hunt in that movie, but
who amongst us is?
Yeah, it's very true.
Last and hardest question.
Oh man, come on.
I promise. You got this one.
Okay.
Where can our friends follow along with everything that you're doing? Where can they connect with you and all the things, the amazing, amazing things that you're building?
You know, I wish I had like an umbrella brand and could say to you like KatieFawkes.com, but I do not. I am not that smart. So you can follow me if you want to understand all things Ecamm. If you just go literally search ECAMM, I am there in all of the spaces and places. And my last name is spelled weird. So if you look up Katie Fawkes, Fawkes, like the bird from the Harry Potter movies, right? You can find me in all the different places. And then if you want to geek out over movies, that channel is called the VHS Club, and you can go the VHSclubpod.com is the website for that one. And
they can watch your shows live every Thursday and Friday. Show up. It's a good time. They're fun people.
We are fun. And inevitably, we have almost everyone in our audience on the show. So if you also want to join us and review a movie, you're welcome to do that too.
Very cool. Katie, thank you so much. This has been a blast. I've had a wonderful time with you.
Oh, so much fun. Always a pleasure.
Once again, I'd like to thank my guest, Katie Fawkes, for coming on the show. You can learn more about Ecamm over at ecamm.com. And be sure to check out both of Katie's shows, The VHS Club and The Maker's Table, over on YouTube. I also want to thank you, my friend and listener, for taking some time with me. If you're enjoying the stories you hear on the show and would like to continue the conversation, you can sign up for my email newsletter. Just click the link in the show notes. The Zach Brown Show is hosted and produced by me, Zach Brown. It is engineered and co-produced by Corey Jess and is part of the Zach Brown Network. Our album art is by Luis Lopez. Our catchy outro music is Nurse by Corey Jess. You can listen to the full song on Spotify and iTunes. Follow The Zach Brown Show on Facebook and Instagram. And finally, you can help support the show by signing up to be a Patreon member. Memberships start as low as $5 a month with perks like buttons, stickers, sneak peeks at upcoming projects, and even an exclusive shirt. Sign up right now at patreon.com/The Zach Brown Show. That's all for this episode. I hope you come back for the next one. Until then, take care.